Look, first off, we tip our hats to Buffalo. I mean, so many momentum swings in that game. It'd be hard to remember them. When the playoffs part of this began for us, we obviously had a bye. We had gone through the history of teams that had won the Super Bowl. We all talked about it, and in the last 25 years, 24 of those teams have been plus in the turnover takeaway battle. And we were 5-1 today, and we weren't good enough in the red zone. That concerned me, but we were good enough when it counted. And man, there's like a million things that you guys can ask or I can talk about. Our fans were great. Thankful for the way the players, it's kind of been the story of the season, and this is a good second half team. But the one thing we talked about, I gave you guys the myths of the one seed on a bye that doesn't promise a fast start. The team you're playing just came off one of their best wins of the year, but we earned a fast start. That was important. We felt like when you get into the second half, that's where that bye week gives you an edge. And so it went back and forth, overtime. It's like, it's interesting. We had a clinic on overtime in the postseason compared to the regular season. Washington, we had the captain for the Commanders say we're going to kick off that way, and it's like, well, you can't do that. Carolina kicked off from the 40 the other day in the playoffs. No one caught it. From 40-yard line. Playoff game. So I think I spent 10 minutes talking to Will, make sure you understood. We wanted to kick, and then if they choose that, we want to return the ball, and you get to pick the direction, and then covered everything with the team relative to timeouts, quarters, halftime. And I'll be darned, here we are sitting playing in an overtime game. Again, I'm happy for the fans. They were magnificent. It's a real good team that, we obviously weren't ready last year, but we were ready today. Any questions?
Sean, two-parter, your angle on the interception that J-Mac made.
The last one?
Yeah.
It's perfect. Two things happened. There's actually a hold in the end zone. That would have been the first time the game would have ended with a safety when DJ just gets completely. But the throw's made, the catch is being made, but the catch isn't secured. And so in these playoff games, you have officials. If the catch was secured, it wouldn't have been an interception. So as it's not secured and we get it, it's our ball. It was an amazing play by J-Mac.
He was an undrafted guy. He was not playing a lot when you first got here. What have you just made of the?
Well, 23.
Put him in the lineup.
23. We were trying to figure it out, and yeah, there are a lot of guys that aren't here that were here in 23, but he's earned every. I said you'll go 5-10 years before you see a turnover like that one. That ended up being a game changer. That was a tremendous play.
Coach, to your left, Bo, his play down the stretch, particularly at the end of regulation to go up. Just what did you think of your quarterback?
Man, those were big drives, not always easy. Once we hit midfield with the penalty, now we know we're getting 0 on every play. I wasn't comfortable with where we were kicking that field goal from at all. And so we usually keep a list of 6-8 passes that are 0 beaters, max protection, stutter, spears, and he puts it up there for Mims. Yeah, he was fantastic when we needed him, and he made some plays with his feet. Both teams were nicked up. They were nicked up coming in. We got nicked up quick. Pat's out, and then pretty soon Troy Franklin's out, and then you're down to 3 receivers. We took Mims off kick return after that happened. Then these are the 3 if you're going to be in, 11 personnel. We got into some base. We had a lot more tempo in this plan, especially in the early part of the game. Out of different groupings, we had a few NASCAR packages. I thought we ran it well in the first half, and then we ran into a lot more run pressures in the second half.
Sean, you self-evaluated as a play caller this week. Quick, decisive. Did you feel like you were driving in the rain, so to speak, tonight, or?
No, I felt clear.
Yeah.
I felt clear. Red zone pissed me off a little bit, but no, I felt crystal clear.
What got you thinking about that?
Just talking about it and getting a good night's rest 2 nights in a row, and then I think one of the things we tried to do is reduce the plan so that we had more reps at it. I thought when you lose 2 receivers, understand the work week. Like Troy might have gotten all these 3rd down throws that immediately become Mims, or Pat is getting all these plays, and now LJ, gets in there, and then he comes up with a huge play for us. I mean, yeah, that was something. That was a big score. And then when you think about that, then the fumble, like there's a fast 10, before you get out of your seat at halftime. That probably was the difference in the game, really. That happened quick.
Coach, to your left, along with that, part of those 10 points, you had 4 straight scoring drives to end the half, and then the field goal
after
the half.
That was our big thing. It was, look, you guys know it. We haven't, we changed all week. Every period was fast start, team run, fast start, and we got off the field, tried to simulate more of a game, because one of the true challenges when you're coming off a bye, if you're not careful, that other team has a little bit more right at the start. And so we talked about that, and we achieved that.
Coach, over here, was there any difference in how you were calling plays in overtime? And maybe you can comment about how Alex Singleton's initial that turnover seemed to be another change.
There were so many plays. I just handed out 5 balls. Benito caused 2 fumbles. Alex caused 1. PJ Locke's got a pick. His pick was big. And any and all of them are, I think, I would say, historically speaking, for me, when you're calling plays, you have to pay attention to who's on offense, who's the quarterback, and then your tolerance for being aggressive moves in a certain direction. And so, man, they're an offense that got a phenomenal running back. That quarterback is something, and so we were going to be, we were going to be more aggressive.
Sean, can you talk about the Frank Crum touchdown? How long have you been working on it, and how important was it?
Good question. So Johnny Moe, who's just working with us, consulting from Detroit, ran that play against Buffalo in the regular season last year. And I'm going to be respectful of all the linemen in the world that get to catch a pass. But Frank is extremely athletic. And the tackle, the jumbo for Detroit, would be on the other end. It has nothing to do with his ability, but on the other end of that spectrum. And so when we saw that, we saw it as a short yardage play, but we saw it as a short yardage red zone play. And they have a tendency to play more man when you're in jumbo. And so the little short motion bumps who's covering who. And that's one of those Rudy plays. Your whole team goes crazy when that happens, And so he's very athletic, and we got, like, sometimes you don't get the look you want. We got the exact same look Detroit got. Ours scored just like 3 seconds quicker. Their guy took a while to get in.
Hey, Sean, over here.
Yeah.
What's the emotion like for you, especially given this team and how you've had, so many games come down to the wire? What did it feel like in overtime, the fourth quarter today?
Man, tell me at what point and who had the ball. We're punting. Look, probably his best punt of the year. I don't know what the net was. You guys do. 55, no return. And so now it's, we've got to be aggressive because field goal beats us, and we kind of know right where that line is. We zeroed them up twice, and once they got outside of us on third down, the runner did, on a little screen, and then that last interception was a cover zero. We can't sit back and allow him to move around like we're going to force his hand. And again, that was a phenomenal play by J-Mac, but it should have ended really with the safety, which would have been the first in the history of football. A great play.
Sean, straight back. Can you elaborate more on just the defense's effort and the emphasis on takeaways, especially heading into the playoffs, and then to get that stop on, I guess, their next to last drive that allowed you to set up the go-ahead touchdown to get a field goal?
No, that I would say they score there, and it becomes very difficult. So they look all season long. It's been like these guys in there love each other. It's one of the closer teams I've ever been around. Very unselfish, and they play for each other. And back to the earlier question, your emotions just move, but still the whole time you're trying to stay in the moment relative to where are we at when we get this ball back, and then what do we need to do. I would say that the second half was entirely different than the first half relative to what we saw. We saw a lot more fire zone. You could count the pressures 5-1 compared to the first half. And so then it was quickly, all right, what are we adjusting to? The last pass interference was a, max protect, was meant for something like that. So you save some of those calls if you think, because they're really a zone team, but in those gotta-have-it moments, all of us, in the gotta-have-it moments, you have to be ready, and so, yeah, I think defensively, that was a big stop. There's so many, they took the ball away 5 times. That was the strip sack at the end of the half for the little field goal that's Lanyap, and that was something. Okay. Thank you.
Nick, what was the swing of emotions? Does it feel like you just played several different football games there?
Man, first and foremost, hats off to Buffalo. That crazy talented team. Offensively, they're so hard to deal with. I mean, James Cook, in my opinion, is probably the best back in the league right now. I mean, he's such a great player, and he was so hard to game plan for. And obviously, Josh does what he does, and he's a great player in itself. The O-line, but I'm just happy, we found a way to win. Yeah.
Nick, we know it's been a point of emphasis for you guys to get more takeaways, but I guess how crucial was it, and how nice was it to get 5 in a game? Yeah, I mean, it helped us win today. Takeaways are such a big part of a football game, and the way we did it today, and just how we were able to capitalize off of them offensively, and us just playing complementary football is a big reason why we won today. So not only the takeaways, but offensively being it for them to capitalize the way they did too, it was really good.
Nick, you had 2 of those takeaways. Can you take us through both of those, the one right before half and after half?
Yeah, so I mean, Josh is kind of a guy, his ball security, he probably carries it with one hand sometimes when he's out the pocket. So I seen that throughout the week, and we kind of harped on it. And he did it today when he was scrambling. And I just seen the shot where I can go ahead and try to get it out, and I did. So and then the strip sack, I mean, that's just me rushing the passer and just find a way to make a play for the team.
Nick, to your right, can you just the difficulty in keeping Josh Allen where you can find him, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it was so tough. I mean, him and Pat are probably the best at doing that. Just being able to manipulate the pocket, and he's such a smart player, just finding ways and to get through those gaps and seams, and making plays down the field with his arm and legs. I mean, he's a tough guy to keep in the pocket, and we knew we weren't going to the whole game. But I mean, as long as we were just running and chasing them and just finding ways to affect them on the run, that was big for us throughout the week, and I feel like we did that today.
Nick, Sean said last year you guys weren't ready. This year you were ready. What was the difference?
I mean, it's a big difference, man. I mean, I feel like we were ready for this moment. We knew we were supposed to be here, and we handled ourselves like that. I felt like that third quarter, when towards the end of it, when things didn't go our way, and even a little bit of the fourth, there was no wavering that, we knew we can still win this game. We knew it wasn't over, and, we knew we had the crowd behind our back. So we just kept playing, and, that's something I feel like last year's team, and obviously it's harder too because we're on the road, but we didn't do that. So,
Nick, on that, I was just talking to Adam about it, and he was like, man, we're going to win at one point in the game. And then he's like, oh my God, this just got a lot tougher. Can you just take me through like the mental emotions of how chaotic that game was as a player?
Yeah, it was really chaotic because obviously we ended the first half really well. Second half came out strong. Obviously the strip sack, and then got a field goal off of it. And we felt like we had all the momentum, and then quickly they were able to get it right back. And, human nature kind of teaches you like, there's something bad's about, but we didn't have that type of mentality. We kept together, and we knew we were going to find a way to win.
What was your view on J-Mac's pick, and how does that pick represent who he is as a player?
I mean, ever since, we came in together in the same draft class, he's been making plays. On that play specifically, man, I mean, I didn't see nothing but him just coming up and holding the ball after, and the crowd started going crazy. But, that's just nothing, no surprise. J-Mac's been making plays since we both got in here, rookie year, and he just continues to do it week in and week out. So, I mean, that's just what he does at this point.
Nick, I know that you have a 24-hour rule in general and you want to enjoy this, but how quickly do you turn the page, and how excited are you and your teammates that you're going to be in the AFC title game and one win away from going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, man, it's crazy to think about, but, obviously we got to move on after tonight. Because we're going to have two. One of them is going to be a good opponent we got to face next week. So, we'll probably be watching and also recovering and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's going to be a quick turnaround for sure. All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Hey, Matt, can you just take us through that interception? Sean said you might not see any play like that in 5 years.
Yeah, we was in zero. We was in cover zero, so which means none of the DBs have help, no post safety or nothing. And the guy ran let me talk about the pressure. They actually picked it up good. I think they checked into something to protect. And, he was sitting back there for a while. I didn't see. I was chasing my man. He had a step on me, and I just fought through the hands, finished the play. He actually had the ball coming down. And once I had my hand on the ball, I was able to take it from him. I fell on top of him and, just held the ball up and showed the fans some love.
Over in the other locker room, they're pretty convinced that Brandon Cooks came down with that ball. What did you see? Did you get any sort of explanation about what happened there at the end of it?
Yeah, I don't really think he had complete control going down. We was both fighting for the ball. And I just made a play. I basically took it out of his hands, and I came up with it.
J-Mac, to your left, it was an earlier game this season. You got to the sideline. You said, "Quit playing with me." What do you think you've shown this year, and kind of what you've battled through? What has this meant to you to have this sort of success?
Man, it's been a journey. I had to fight. To get to this point, undrafted. So when I say that, man, I just be in the element. When I was saying it today, it was just like, hey, they try to game me. Like, if you would have caught that, that's a game. You kick the field goal, they win a game. So, man, my motto is like, in the biggest moments, I'm ready for it. Like, I want them guys to throw the ball to me. I'm gonna try to make a play and that's what I did.
J-Mac, it's been such a point of emphasis for you guys to get more takeaways. How rewarding is it? You obviously had a good one against the Chargers, but then to have 5 today, especially against Josh Allen.
It was something that we talked about, Sean was like, we get a clean slate. We didn't do a real good job in the regular season, so it was kind of emphasized to us in practice. So he told us we had a clean slate, and we just came out there and played hard, man. Nick had he had a sack, and then he had the strip fumble right before halftime, and then PJ had the interception, and I forget the other one, and then I came down with one at the end of the game. But it feels good to get them turnovers, because you gave them the offense more opportunity to go down there and score.
Yeah, Jaquan, can we reduce that play to as simple as you wanted the ball more than Brandon Cooks?
Right. Yeah. Like I said, man, he had a step on me. I guess the ball was kind of underthrown. I think I did a good job of not, interfering with him. Kind of just had my hands going through his hands, and he had the ball, and he just took it once I had my hands on it.
Last one, Mark. There's been great undrafted players in the history of this franchise. What does being undrafted mean to you, give to you as an edge, and who do you owe the most to?
The Most High, man. None of this happening without, God, man, just being undrafted, man. You just gotta be scrappy. You gotta fight your way, and they continue to bring guys in each year. But I always, I don't shy away from competition or anything like that. So I just, do what I do. I always been this way. Y'all just saying it now on a bigger stage, but I've been doing this my whole life, and yeah, man, I just go out there and do what I've been doing. It's nothing new for me.
I love you guys so much. I wanted to come back. Not good news. On the second to last play in overtime, Bo fractured a bone in his right ankle. He's scheduled to have surgery Tuesday of this week, which will put him out for the rest of the season. Steady's ready to go. And it was the second to last play before he threw the pass to Mims. Birmingham is where he'll have the surgery with Dr. Waltrip, and I don't really think there's any other questions. In other words, this is what it is, and we felt like it'd be best to just tell everyone now. I'll take questions.
Sean, just after such an emotional victory, how deflating is it to get that?
Tell you what, the one thing about it, he's such a strong, faith-based guy. He was sitting in the hallway with his family, and I went over and we're all talking to him. And, he knows, that God's got a plan for him. And he said he had one in high school. And then he said he had one at Auburn. And I said, I didn't realize that. I said, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have drafted you. But he's a tough cookie, and I said, listen, I believe you're the second quarterback in year 2 to take your team to a championship game, and the first is Mahomes. And this team all year has lost key players, and we'll rise up for the next challenge, and we'll go from there.
Coach, to your left, how do you want to see the guys on the team be there for him? And what is your message to those guys as you obviously have more football to play?
Well, a handful of the team knows that and there'll be a lot of guys learning about it right now, which is tough. This is difficult. Like let's say I had a team meeting tomorrow at 9, I would have tried to have kept it so I could talk to the team first. But the odds of something like this being kept quiet till Monday at 9 are impossible. And And so I felt like, in essence, I'm talking to the team now. So, look, they'll be disappointed. There'll be a lot of emotions, and then the refocus takes place. But, you know, we celebrate the season for him. And listen, this city's ready. And we'll be ready for the next challenge.
Sean, you just said Stiddy's going to be ready. I'm assuming he's one of the guys that you have talked to or does know. And
He knows.
so we've seen him in bits and pieces here in the preseason and a couple
Anything,
years
yeah,
ago.
I would say this in fairness to what you've seen, which is very limited. Yeah, he's ready. He's ready. Like I said this at the beginning of the season, I feel like I've got a two that's capable of starting for a handful of, number of teams. And I know he feels the same way. So watch out, just watch. And he's experienced, he's played in games. They're different type players to some degree, and yet they're very close friends. As with Sam, it's a tight room. Sam will be our two, and here we go. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Yep.